Yeah, Fáilte Rash, Ennis, and the scene has been set then for round one of the Munster Championship tie. Who will come out today? Let's head back then to our commentator for this game, Dave McIntyre, and Seamus Hickey's beside him as well.
Yes, thank you, Gráinne. Good afternoon. This is the Clare side that has been named for the opening game for them in the Munster Hurling Championship this year. Couple of new faces, particularly in goal. Eamon Foodie gets his first championship start. Adam Hogan will start for the first time. He's an under-20 star. A little further out the field, Tony Kelly makes his 50th championship appearance in midfield with Cathal Malone. Peter Duggan is back on the wing. Aidan McCarthy, who missed last year's championship, starts at 12. And Shane O'Donnell makes his seasonal bow at 14. Well, there are four of this Tipperary team that are playing from the start in a championship match for the first time. New face in the full back line, and Arabelle Rovers' Johnny Ryan. There's a first championship start for Brian McGrath at wing back and a debut for Brian O'Mara at centre back. Noel McGrath captains the side in midfield. John McGrath starts in the corner, and Alan Tynan, who is one of the finds of the league, has been named alongside McGrath in midfield. Well, before we get to throw in today's game, there will be a few moments taken just to reflect on the passing of Dr. Mick Loftus this week, former Uachtaráin Cumma Luchlas Gael and a member of the 1951 Mayo All-Ireland winning panel across the line and native. He also refereed the 1965 and 68 All-Ireland finals. And a throw in fast approaching. We'll take another pause for the anthem. What an atmosphere it is. Seamus Hickey alongside me. It's a ground with a capacity of about 18,000. I've been told there was over 17,000 tickets sold. It's a field that is big but plays tight. What do you expect?
It's a great venue for a Munster Championship hurling, and what a matchup today. I really can't wait to get stuck into this.
Away we go, a Waterford man in the middle, Thomas Walsh. His county have already been beaten by Limerick in the opening round of this year's Munster Hurling Championship as Tipperary look for the quickest of starts. It's a lovely pick-up and an opportunity for Jake Morris with his first touch off his right side. 15 seconds on the clock and we're already up and running.
You're going to see an awful lot of that from Tipperary today. The crossfield ball, one ball straight from the throw-in and put it into the corner. Jake Morris, great use of the ball.
And Clare wastes no time in getting on with things. It's a great take in his left hand from Shane O'Donnell. Comes alive around championship time. And he had an option outside him in Cathal Malone. Malone from the touchline. That's going to drop all the way towards that right-hand post, but ultimately it's the opening wide of the game. Well, no team have won more games in this new structure of the Munster Hurling Championship, which was introduced 5 years ago, than Clare. They've won 8 of their 12 matches. Tipperary Well, they've lost their last 6 championship matches, going back to their victory over Clare in the Munster Hurling semi-final 2 years ago. But they have started well here, and they've got the opening 2 scores of the game. That one popped over by Noel McGrath, captaining Tipperary in 2023. They lead by 2.
Noel McGrath, after moving into centre forward with Dan McCormack and out midfield, great use of the ball into the centre. Great striking from Noel McGrath, always good for it.
Eamon Foodie's puck out. And Tipperary just winning all those early balls at the moment. Primary possession very much going their way in these opening exchanges. A long range effort, and that is dropped high, and it's dropped over the bar for Brian McGrath, following up from the example just set by his older brother Noel. And in his first championship start, he gets his first championship point.
Yeah, Brian McGrath, really exciting talent, isn't he? What an incredible family the McGraths are. Great strike of the ball.
Well, if Tipperary wanted to quieten down this banner crowd in the opening few minutes, Liam Cahill will be very pleased by what his side are producing. Here's John Conlon, though. What a loss he was to the side for last year's All-Ireland semi-final. Back in at centre-half back. That's collected really well by Cahill Barrett, one of the most experienced members of this Tipperary team. Jake Morris with another chance, brilliantly hooked by Diarmuid Ryan. A frenetic start to this game, and out over the sideline it goes.
Yeah, I love the defending from Diarmuid Ryan. Diarmuid Ryan's such an exceptional defender. Look at this for a hook. Hurley in, elbow high, super technique. And he's one of the best things to come out of that Clare half-back line in the last 10 years.
56th championship meeting of these counties, a fixture dominated historically by Tip, who have 38 wins to Clare's 13. But Brian Lohan knows what it takes to beat Tipperary. As a player in particular, with those brilliant teams of the 1990s under Ger Loughnane. This line ball will be taken by Ford, the 29-year-old from the Silver Mines Club. It's a lovely, clean strike. It's gone all the way. Real confusion between Eamon Foodie and Conor Cleary on the edge of the square. It was arcing from left to right, and it ends up with a green flag in the air. And Tipperary with the opening goal, Jason Ford with his 9th goal in senior championship hurling.
Conor Cleary really doing his best just to keep John McGrath at bay. Eamon Foodie, sometimes as a goalie, the worst thing can happen is that nobody gets a touch. Really bad start for Clare.
Well, Clare needs some inspiration from somewhere, and who better than Shane O'Donnell to potentially provide that. Back on his hands and knees, lovely vision and awareness. He knew that Aidan McCarthy was free, and McCarthy finally gets the scoreboard ticking in Clare's favour.
Shane O'Donnell is going to be the man for Clare. They really need to feed him often. Look how difficult it was for him to get that hand pass out. Aidan McCarthy has been consistent scorer all league. Great score.
Barry Hogan, the Tip goalkeeper, just his 6th championship appearance. It's taken really well by Jason Ford. And Ford just pulls that across the face of the post of Eamon Foodie. It's the first wide of the game for Tip. Conlon, great strength from him. Now 34 years of age. His 3rd season at 6. Lovely spin with the ball in his palm from Ryan Taylor. And Taylor inside the 45. That's a lovely score from Ryan Taylor. And as Taylor wheels away, there's some rather unsavoury scenes beginning to unfold just on the 65-metre line in the Clare half, Tip half of the field rather. It was ongoing, Seamus, while Ryan Taylor was sizing up the posts.
Yeah, I think Cathal Malone got tangled up there with Gerard O'Connor. That's going to happen sometimes, just a little bit of wrestling. But, you know, the real thing for me was Ryan Taylor's speed going through the middle there. He was absolutely superb. I think Thomas Walsh is going to give 2 yellows and we're going to get on with it. But Ryan Taylor, 2 defenders looked at him because you really aren't going to catch him once he gets the full tilt and a good score. He's going to flash the 2 yellows. I think we're going to get on with it.
Well, a yellow card to Tony Kelly and Cathal Barrett, and I've a feeling, Seamus, that of the 2 players, Cathal Barrett will be the more pleased, because Tony Kelly on a yellow card doesn't really hurt Tipperary.
Yeah, Cathal Barrett on a yellow card hurts Tipperary, I guarantee you that.
Yeah, that is fair. Here come Clare again, looking for their 3rd score in a row, lifted in by David McInerney. Looking for it, out wide was Ian Galvin, and Galvin got turned, and suddenly Clare have come to the party, and they've rattled 3 without reply, and they've had that Tipperary lead.
David McInerney, he has had his injury problems the last couple of years, but when he's fit, look at the great ball into Ian Galvin. What a touch to get it down into his hand. One of the unsung heroes in this Clare team.
Clare allowed Tipperary have that one short. It went to Michael Breen, his ball over the top. is being chased down by Diarmuid Ryan, the 24-year-old from Cracklow. And in it goes to Paul Flanagan, an All-Star nominee in 2022. They're overdoing it a little here, Clare, but John Conlon brings a little more sense to the proceedings. Spotted McInerney in space. McInerney's had a go from way out the field, but that's going to drop short into the hands of Barry Hogan. Bringing it away for Tip is Johnny Ryan. Now Alan Tynan, who was one of the star performers in the league for Tipperary. That looked a foul on Ford. The referee allowing play to continue. Picked up now by Malone. And he's being chased by Garrod O'Connor. A chance perhaps for Diarmuid Ryan. And that is tailed away to the right this time. Second wide of the game for the Bannermen.
Yeah, you Dave McInerney and Diarmuid Ryan shooting from their own 65 against a really stiff breeze here in Cusack Park, so probably not the most advisable.
And it was an awful puck out for Barry Hogan. It was taken by Shane O'Donnell, and really Mark Rogers has to be raising a white flag from that sort of range.
Very unusual for Barry Hogan, actually. His puckouts are normally superb.
Well, this time he's opted to go long, down on top of Conlon. Very few can beat him in the air. And off he goes, John Conlon. What an athlete he's been for so long now. Come back from serious injury on more than one occasion in his career. Now Conor Cleary. Cleary under a lot of pressure. Eventually clears his lines. Down towards Aidan McCarthy. McCarthy is O'Donnell in close attendance. Lifted neatly by Duggan. And in the end it was put into the hand of McCarthy, who wins the free.
Barely time to catch a breath here in the first few minutes. Really, Aidan McCarthy has proven himself over the last couple of years. Last year was a tough year, missing out on so much of the championship, but really incredible ball-winning capability for a man that used to play in half-back, moved up to the forwards, taking the frees now. Really impressive guy for me.
251 he racked up in the league. He's a confident man. Grew up just about 6 kilometres from here in Cusack Park. And they've had a couple of really poor wides, Clare. They need that one to drop over. It's come in off the right-hand side beautifully. So a first point for Aidan McCarthy. His first one from a place ball, his second in the game. Clare have 4 without reply. Quickest onto that one is Malone. Spotted a little bit of space for McCarthy down that left-hand side. Coming across to meet him was Brian O'Mara, one of the debutants of this Tipperary team. That's going to drop short. And Hogan claims it and drops it. And it's almost turned home by Rogers. Malone again. Got the call on his shoulder from Diarmuid Ryan. Ryan looking for a score, but he was under pressure, hit it hurriedly. 4th wide of the game for Clare.
Yeah, when the ball's going to hang like that, Aidan McCarthy, he'll put the ball in, Barry Hogan came to claim it. Anything could have happened there. Really lucky Johnny Ryan was on the line to clear.
Again, Hogan goes with the long ball. It's 2-on-2 inside there, but one of the 2 for Clare was Conlon. He's hooked, not allowed to get that ball away. Here come Clare again. Whipped into the corner forward position, occupied by Rogers. Rogers is fouled. And an opportunity for Clare to leave just the minimum between the teams. The opening 10 minutes have delivered a flurry of scores. Clare have seized the momentum back from Tipperary, and having trailed by 6, there could shortly just be 1 between them.
You can see both teams trying to create space in the forwards, trying to pull the half forwards. Like Peter Duggan collected that on his own 65, and a really well-placed ball outside of Brian O'Mara at centre-back. The use of ball has been brilliant by both teams so far.
So McCarthy, nominated for the Young Hurler of the Year award a couple of years ago, had to bide his time, having been brought into the panel a few years back. And that's a far simpler one for him. His personal tally is 3. And what a response that has been to that, the unfortunate nature in which the goal was conceded. Looking to pick this one up for Tipperary is Kennedy. Back out the field to Barrett. Barrett just flick of the wrists. He knew the run was being made in his direction by Ford. Ford under pressure though. Gathered by Ryan Taylor. And a little bit of space now for John Conlon. An all-star in 2018. O'Donnell couldn't get to it, but he got there the second time. Lovely skills from Shane O'Donnell. Oh, he's an artist when he gets going, but that's a really good tackle put in by Brian O'Mara. And here come tip through Ronan Marr. And that's a rather aimless delivery. Taken by Flanagan. Across the field to Adam Hogan. Conlon now. A more measured delivery. They're looking for the second ball here. Digging for it was Ian Galvin. Eventually it broke towards Rogers and out to McCarthy. That's a really nice effort from him. Barely any swing on the hurl off his left side. He's got his second for play and his fourth in total.
Terrific play, great work rate from the Clare forwards, trying to get scrappy ball, went over Brian McGrath's head. He really should have caught that first time, but great finish by Ed McCarthy, isn't it?
Wonderful skills from Shane O'Donnell. Well, there's more after us before we get the ball back in play involving Adam Hogan. And I think it was Ford. Well, the referee remained consistent and flash another couple of yellows.
Adam Hogan started quite well. He's man-marking Jason Ford, and that's it. This altercation has come out of the fact that he wants to be in his boots. Ball went up the field for Aidan McCarthy's score from a block from Adam Hogan. So he's really getting stuck in. No fear in his debut.
Speaking to Brendan Bugler in the build-up, he described him as an old-fashioned teak-tough cornerback. He's only 20 years of age, and the sky is the limit for a player of his talents. He's been brought in to do a job on 4 today. That's a good touch from Brian McGrath. The line ball will be taken by David McInerney. They have been packed into Cusack Park today on a gloriously sunny afternoon. What a contrast to yesterday in Salthill, when Galway got the better of Wexford.
Yeah, it was cold in Salthill, I'm not going to lie.
So McInerney sent it down the line. Lovely first touch. Killing the ball in the air was Duggan. And a real scrap for possession in that ruck. And they were trucking along at almost a score a minute for much of the opening salvos of this game. Rogers digging for it. Eventually it's Tipperary that make their way through with the ball, and Ronan Marr looking for the ball into that corner, and John McGrath, who's had a quiet start to the game, but now he might get himself into it. McGrath looked to have been fouled. Referee sees it exactly that way. And how good it is to see John McGrath back hurling for Tipperary after that terrible career-threatening injury he suffered in this fixture last year.
Yeah, he really is one of the marquee forwards in the game for the last 6-7 years. Great guy as well, solid leader for Tipperary, so it's super to see him back. Well,
there is a card to the man we were just discussing, Adam Hogan. So that is good news for Jason Ford in particular.
Yeah, cornerback having a yellow card is not a comfortable place to be, especially when you're marking a high-quality player like Jason Ford. So, yeah, in all the good things that Adam Hogan's tenacity brings, you're going to have to be disciplined now for the rest of the game.
So Ford, he's already grabbed himself a goal. His 11th season on the panel. He's still only 29 years of age. Seems to have been around forever. Already 2:33 in championship hurling against Clare. You can tack another one onto that. Wayman Foodie came off the bench against Waterford for the last 15 minutes of the group stage last year, but this day he's in from the start. Here's McCarthy, flips it over to Ryan Taylor. Taylor with a low ball in. He was looking for Rogers, but quickly onto it. Really good piece of defending from Johnny Ryan. Clare have managed to turn Tipperary over though. And it's still not clear who's going to come away with this ball. Eventually Tipperary do, through Ronan Marr. Marr with a good ball towards Ford, and Adam Hogan will need to be very careful with those tussles for the ball. Back inside it comes to Dan McCormick, who hasn't seen any of the ball so far. Flips it to his right. He knew Noel McGrath was lurking nearby, and who better from that area of the field to send it over the bar than the Tipperary captain.
It's vintage Noel McGrath, isn't it? To sit in that pocket there outside centre forward, take the delivery and laser over the bar.
15th season of senior championship hurling for Noel McGrath, who went into the panel straight out of minor 14 years ago. Taken with real purpose was Brian O'Mara, and O'Mara looking for a score on his championship debut, but that tails away to the right and wide.
Great bit of interplay between Tynan and Brian O'Mara there to actually win that puck out. They're really exciting young players, Tynan and O'Mara. Great to see them.
It's already been a good year for Brian O'Mara. It's given cup medal with UL already. Foodie under an awful lot of pressure, and he's got himself into a bit of a pickle here, and a goal opportunity for Tip, and it's taken by Jake Norris. The Nina man gets their second goal of the game.
When you think of the goalkeeping debuts, this is probably up there as one of the more nightmarish ones. To get dispossessed 15 yards out from your goal, he's throwing his hands up looking for a free. You're not going to get that. You're just not going to get that. Great turnover by Jake Morris, and a really composed finish. Really great finish.
Well, that is a nightmare of epic proportions for Eamon Foodie, who got the nod ahead of Eamon Quilligan today. He really stood out in the league, and he was given the seal of approval by his manager for today's game. But that's two mistakes now have led to the goals. Clare need to respond again. Rogers, he turns, great piece of defending. Rogers goes again, back out towards McCarthy, and McCarthy off his left side sends that one over the bar, and he does not, in fact. Well, that was almost a gimme, a chip over for him, but he couldn't find the target. Well, that's a wide Clare can ill afford after the concession of that second goal.
Would have been a great answer. Everything was done so well except the finish.
Lone ball targeting Garrod O'Connor. O'Connor has two Clare defenders to contend with. One of them was Conlon. And Tipperary were saying that was a throw roll from John Conlon. Sent in over the head of Shane O'Donnell. Now it's Brian O'Mara. That ball into the corner. Out in front was Jake Morris. Morris looking for a willing runner. He spotted the run of Seamus Kennedy inside, and it's fallen favourably for Tipperary and Alan Tynan. And Alan Tynan sizes up the post and pops it over the bar, and Tipperary are pulling away for the second time in this first half.
Great start to his inter-county championship career. Lovely score for Alan Tynan. He's covering a lot of ground already.
And he's played international rugby at under 20 level for Ireland. He's won a Leinster Schools Cup medal with Ross Gray, and he's got himself a championship point on his debut. Spilled by Ryan Taylor. And the referee's given Clare a free in. Right under the nose of Liam Cahill as well, who's got something to say about it also.
Clare need an answer here now as we look at Ryan Taylor's tipped the ball ahead. Ronan Maria had it lined up. When you tip the ball ahead, unfortunately, the momentum's going to carry you through. Nothing malicious in it, but I'd say he's going to get himself a card.
So Mar goes into the book. His brother Porrig, part of the back group team for Liam Cahill this season.
It's tough to respond when you concede goals like Clare have now, but they have done so well at the moment to get 6 scores on the board. But when you get 2 goals knocked against you so quickly, and unfortunate ones, it really requires a tough mental response from Clare.
And for the second time in this first half, they trail by 6. This is an important one for McCarthy.
For a left-sided striker, it's a great spot from the field to actually hit it from. His free taking really, the only reason he's getting that with Tony Kelly on the field is because he's very good at it.
Only 3 players scored more heavily than he in the league, and that was for a Clare team that didn't reach the knockout stages of this year's National Hurling League. Tip goes short and it's sent long then afterwards by Mar, and the referee has spotted a foul inside on Ford. He's just getting the better of that battle as things stand at the moment with Adam Hogan, who really is now hurling with one hand behind his back with that yellow card.
It's important you don't let it get on top of you for Adam Hogan. He started well, great block on Jason Ford early on, but start to press, and then you start doing things like holding the player back. He needs to really rein it in now and stay disciplined on forward.
I wonder, will Brian Lohan consider just swapping things around on that full back line as forward makes it 1-2, all from place balls. And the Tip lead is back out to 6. First 21 minutes have gone by in the blink of an eye here in Ennis. Clare know how important victory is today as they head to the Gaelic grounds to take on the reigning All-Ireland champions in a week's time. Tip will have their feet up next week as they prepare to take on Cork and Páirc Uí Chaoimh in a fortnight. Ryan trying to bring the ball out for Tipperary. And a chance maybe for McGrath again. This time it does tail away to the right and wide. Another mistake from Clare. Tipperary looking to punish them yet again, and they're almost through a goal, and it is a third goal. It's Jake Morris with his second goal of the game. Again, Clare, the authors of their own downfall, and Tipperary making them pay on each and every occasion.
Yeah, it's so unfortunate. John Conlon was in loads of space for Foodie's quick puck out there, and it just, once it got past his fingers, they weren't set up defensively to deal with the turnover. Jake Morris, he's done exceptionally well to turn the 2 opportunities he's had into goals. Nightmare stuff for Clare.
Clare need a response and fast. They are now 9 behind. Tipperary seem to be winning far more of those scraps for possession. He's dropping down atop of Foodie. He surely now must be nervous every time the ball arrives in his vicinity. Sends it over the 65. It's over the head of McCarthy. O'Donnell comes to meet it. Knew he'd support outside him in the guise of Kelly, who's been very quiet so far. Clare really need to get him on the ball. Kelly getting closer to goal. And the end maybe just took too much out of it. O'Donnell again. And he's won the free in.
Kelly probably pressing a bit too much now. Again, when you concede those kind of goals, you feel like there's a lot to do. Clare will have the breeze in the second half. There's no need to press there. If he took his score and narrowed the gap, that's probably the best thing he could have done there. Shane O'Donnell was the hero in the end, though. He won the ball back.
Some blood that needs to be dealt with, coming from the nose of Cathal Barrett. It's an interesting one with Tony Kelly. Often the manager will move him and then the ball continues to elude him. The age-old issue with Clare managers has been, how do you get Tony Kelly on the ball as often as possible? Yeah,
a lot of time it just happens, and from an opposition point of view, it feels like you can't keep the ball away from him. His ability to read the game, the only player I can compare him to is Henry Shefflin, and his ability to move and to actually to occupy space. But
here's his third Tipperary goal. The puck out from Eamon Foodie ends up back in his nets, and he's had to pick it out for the third time in this first half.
And that's a great angle for the risk reward for short puck out. So a goalie, when you take a short puck out, the reward is that you catch the opposition not set up and that you get your ball up the field. But the risk is that a turnover, your defence is completely open. And when John Conlon then was dispossessed with the ball out of reach, there was nobody between Morris and Foodie. Just nightmare stuff. Good to see Cathal Barrett up and about.
Yes, you'd like a quieter opening to your first start in Senior Championship Hurling, wouldn't you? But unfortunately that has not been the case for the man from Ina Kilnamona. At the other end of the field, it is an opportunity for Aidan McCarthy to tag over his 6th score. Over it goes from the wing forward. The gap is down to 8. Double scores again.
There's loads of time left in this game for Clare. That score, every score will help them in the second half, so they don't need to press, just stay patient.
Hogan's puck out. Almost fell for Dan McCormick. Eventually he does come away with the ball. Got a call behind it from McGrath, who just seems to know where to be. It's a 6th sense for Noel McGrath. And that's why so many of his scores, Seamus, seem to be effortless, because he has found that pocket of space. But that doesn't happen by accident.
And you can see the partnership. Like, so Dan McCormack is one of the players on the Tip team that has done unbelievable work the last few years. And Noel has like a telepathic connection with him sometimes from playing the half-forward line with him.
3 from play for Noel McGrath. But they've given that one almost straight back, potentially, if McCarthy does pop this free over the bar. One that he has won himself. Fouled as the ball arrived by Brian McGrath.
Again, we said it earlier, he's a really tough player, is Aidan McCarthy. Like, his ability to win his own ball, it's really what has kind of won his esteem with Brian Lohan. Is his ability to win his own ball and then to actually convert scores has come as the years have gone by.
This last year's championship with the leg injury. He burst back into life with Clare during the league. Well, he's pushed that to the left. And it's a 6th wide of the game for Clare. Hogan right down the middle, down at top of John Conlon. Again, it's Tipperary initially looking like they were getting onto that breaking ball. Conlon has managed to go back and get his paw on it, and now it's Malone. Flicks it forward to Duggan, who's had a really quiet first half. He and Tony Kelly in particular have to become more influential. That's lovely footwork from Ryan Taylor, and Taylor is still going, needs to make a decision though. And like Tony Kelly before, we took too much out of the ball. Here's Shane O'Donnell, back out it goes towards Kelly. Hurley's going over his shoulder, Tony Kelly hits it over his shoulder and pucks it wide.
And who was there to clean up the messy ball again? Shane O'Donnell. Shane O'Donnell was the one who, again, Ryan Taylor had the option to give the hand pass early as he was running in, didn't give it. Shane O'Donnell mopped it up, gave Kelly a chance.
Maybe a sense that in the minds of some of these Clare forwards, they're already thinking goals. There's a long way to go in this game. Tipperary will be content to just keep putting that ball in and sending it over the bar. This time, Garrod O'Connor with his first score of the game. Space down that right-hand side, perhaps, for Diarmuid Ryan. But it was space that was pretty quickly closed down. Ford now out in front of Adam Hogan, who started this first half well, but maybe struggling a little now. Ford has pulled it across the face of the post, though. 4th wide of the first half for Tip.
Tip just seem to be in the ascendancy at the moment. They seem to be get the ball out of defence a bit easier, finding their men a bit easier.
Duggan. He's got help from Malone. Taylor there as well. Eventually Cathal Malone bends his back and gets it lifted. A real race for possession here. Beat to it was Ian Galvin. The Tipperary full back line really are marshalling that Clare attack very well at the moment. Brian McGrath started well also. That's cleared by Michael Breen, and it's gathered by O'Connor. He's just got his first point. He fancies his chances of a second, but maybe that was rather too ambitious.
Yeah, he's had a superb year, Garrod O'Connor. Fella I'm really excited to see in this year's championship. Fitzgibbon Team of the Year nominee.
Yeah, he's one of 6 members of this 15 that have won All-Ireland medals under Liam Cahill at underage level. Lovely bit of work with the stick from Aidan McCarthy. McCarthy puts that one over the bar. It's his second from play.
Seems to be putting him on his back at the moment. Super, just to take a touch away from the hook and then run beeline at him off the stick. Great finish. Really, really doing everything he can at the moment, Aidan McCarthy for Clare.
Well, it's the goals that separate the teams now. 7 of Clare's 9 points coming from McCarthy. Here is Paul Flanagan. Tipperary hunting in packs, refusing to allow Clare make their way out from their own goal very easily. Liam Cahill will be pleased with that. He's brought the sort of work rate that he was insistent on being present in the Waterford setup when he was there.
No, he has gotten that attitude of intensity from the Tipperary players. Last year, you know, with injuries and different circumstances, you know, I know the Tip players have responded to him this year.
I'm pleased with how things are going so far, at least. Clare need a strong finish to this first half. Won a league in his final year at Waterford, got them to the All-Ireland final as well in 2020. But this perhaps was always the job that he coveted the most. Brian Lohan, having brought Clare all the way to the All-Ireland semi-final last year. Shane O'Donnell playing with an advantage here, and the referee will come back for it.
It's a great matchup, isn't it? Ronan Maher and Shane O'Donnell. Really good matchup. Two superb players. Great line ball from Diarmuid Ryan. Great catch by Shane O'Donnell. And when he slips you and he starts turning, it's not a comfortable place to be, believe me.
So experienced now. Where have that 10 years gone? It's just gone so quickly. His 40th championship appearance today, Shane O'Donnell. It only seems like yesterday he was this bright-eyed youngster scoring a hat-trick in the All-Ireland final under Davy Fitzgerald.
Hard to believe last year was his first All-Star.
Well, this is a must-make, but it's probably the most difficult one that Aidan McCarthy has faced. Into the breeze, must be close to 70 metres with the angle, and he hasn't managed to put it over the bar. Clare are fast approaching double figures on the wide count. Worrying times for Mr. Lohan as Hogan goes long. Conlon scrapping for it. Duggan trying to get it lifted. Breaks out towards Seamus Kennedy. And now it's in the hands of Cathal Barrett. Barrett's little chip over the top. Good work from Hogan. And now Tony Kelly, the magician of Clare hurling. And he put his stamp on these proceedings finally. Kelly from way over on the right-hand side. It's going to land short, and it's been caught inside. An opportunity maybe for Rodgers here to get turned! Oh, that's a big moment!
What a finish. Great score, Mark Rodgers. A fella they've been excited about in Clare for years.
What a moment to get your first championship goal for Clare. He had so much to do, not only plucking it from the air, but he had to hold off two Tipperary defenders, and he finished expertly into the corner.
Now you should hear the crowd around here respond to that. That's a tonic for Clare.
Back to a 6-point game, and a few minutes remaining in this first half. That's miscontrolled by Conlon. Clare will be well aware of what happened the last time Tipperary had a line ball down this side of Cusack Park. It ended up in the back of their net. And it's the same man standing over it in Jason Ford. Well, he's capable of popping this one over the bar. He certainly struck it beautifully. And that's an absolutely gorgeous effort from him.
From a Tipperary perspective, that takes a bit of the wind out of the sails of that Mark Rodgers goal. Great strike by Jason Ford.
1-3 from him, all from place balls. Dropped by Duggan, quickly onto it as Malone. Malone takes a fierce shoulder from Alan Tynan. Goes back out to John Conlon. Just sizes up his options. And plays the ball across to Ryan. Ryan looks at the post, puts it over the bar. Maybe it will be Clare that will finish this first half with the momentum.
That's really one of the best things that John Conlon has brought to the Clare half-back line since he's gone centre-back, is his distribution of ball. Really superb pick out for Diarmuid Ryan there. It's
lost by Hogan. Coming off his line is Foodie. And he deals with that situation well. Now it's Paul Flanagan for Clare. 2 additional minutes at the end of the 35. David McInerney gets it back again. Really impressive work rate from the Tipperary half-forward line. Forward by Flanagan. Now Kelly. What can he conjure up? There's been a brilliant run made inside, and of course Tony Kelly spotted it. Rodgers now bearing down on the tip goal, and a chance maybe for McCarthy. Aidan McCarthy for Clare. Back to Rodgers! Oh, they're right back in it now! They're finishing this first half like a train.
And the galvanised shakes around Cusack Park as they're banging against it. What an incredible passage of play. Great thinking from Aidan McCarthy to turn inside and give the ball back to Mark Rodgers. Kelly found a really nice channel there. Great Clare play.
5:20 scored already in this Munster Championship game. And still time for more before the half-time whistle. And every time Clare hit Tipperary, they always managed to respond immediately with a score. And that's another one for Jake Morris, who's now got 2-1 to his name. Here's O'Donnell. The tip lead is 4. O'Donnell, well, he's well off target with that one. 9th wide in the first half for Clare. Tipperary getting on with things. Taken by O'Connor. Up against John Conlon. Conlon attempting a block in vain. He'll wish he'd got something on it now. A second score of the game for Garrod O'Connor from way over on that far touchline.
Yeah, he's really delivering on the promise, Garrod O'Connor. Look at the stretch of the block for John Conlon, putting as much pressure as he possibly could. Great score. 5
between them again. Running onto that one was Ryan Taylor. He's such an elegant carrier of the ball. He has options left and right. Looks to his right to McCarthy. Good save, Hogan. Clare have to settle for a 65.
Yeah, Barry Hogan, what a brave stand there. Aidan McCarthy is intent on doing everything he can to get Clare back in this game. But super save from Barry Hogan. Stands big, near post. Look at his leg, everything, put as much as he possibly can. Sometimes being a goalie is a thankless place, lads, when you're getting balls peppered off you, but brave stand by Barry.
Part of All-Ireland minor winning sides and under-20 All-Ireland winning sides with Tipperary, Barry Hogan. This is just his 6th championship appearance today. So Aidan McCarthy, who already has 7 points. This could well be the final play of this first half, and what a first half it's been. I think everybody in Cusack Park will welcome the opportunity to gather their thoughts and draw some breath, because we've been treated to some spectacle in the opening 37.5 minutes. This would leave Clare in a more satisfied state of mind heading into that half-time changing room. Struck well by McCarthy, and over it goes. He has finished this first half well, as have Clare. What an opening half we've had in this Munster Championship encounter. Tipperary led by 9 at one stage. Mark Rogers, though, with 2 goals for Clare in the space of 3 minutes. And suddenly Clare had Tip back within their sight.
Yeah, no, it's a proper Munster Championship affair with savage collisions, great intensity.
Well, Liam Cahill with plenty to think about, as does Brian Lohan. Half-time here at Cusack Park. It's Clare 2-11, Tipperary 3-12. We'll have analysis next.
And this is some of the local camogie clubs here. They were in action at half-time. They're making their way off the pitch as we wait for the teams to come back out for the second half. So, lads, from Clare's perspective, what do you want to see them doing?
Yeah, I think Clare have to do what they did in the last 10 minutes in the first half. You know, they got great joy when they ran at the Tipperary half-back line. You know, when they got Ryan Taylor was coming from midfield, Shane O'Donnell, Aidan McCarthy, and obviously Mark Rogers was to the fore. So what I don't want to see Clare is, you know, they have a slight wind behind their backs now for the second half, and just to, you know, pot shots from 70, 80 yards that are just going to go wide, and they're very, you know, they're disheartening wide. So I think Clare are getting great joy when they run at the tip half-back line. So more of the same.
What about from a Tipperary perspective? You mentioned that half-back line.
Yeah, I think they just need to get a grips with Aidan McCarthy and his movement, and Shane O'Donnell seems to get loose quite a bit. So if they can get a little bit tighter, especially on Clare's puck-outs now, because they'll probably go to look a bit further with the breeze. So tip half-back line, get a little bit tighter and maybe be more direct now in the second half against the breeze as well.
In one word, who's going to win?
Tipperary.
OK, let's head back then to our commentary team for the second half. Seamus Hickey and Dave McIntyre.
Yes, thanks very much, Grania. Well, nearly as much scored in the first half here as we had in the entire 70-odd minutes in Thurles earlier, as Limerick beat Waterford in the first game of this year's championship in Munster. So Tipperary looking to build on what was a very good first half performance for them. But Clare just stuck in it, and now they have the elements behind them. Here's Ryan Taylor, who had a really good first half, but that is short and wide. Interesting, Seamus, as he left the field, Brian Lohan had a long conversation with the match referee, most likely, we think, about one of those goals where he felt his goalkeeper had been fouled.
Yeah, he was looking for something, but if you also know, Eamon Foodie took the ball into contact, got dispossessed, there was nothing there. But as a manager, you're looking for that injustice in the referee's mind, just to get something back off him later in the second half.
Cathal Malone's ball forward. Moving on to it quickly was Ian Galvin. Galvin couldn't keep control of it, however. Good piece of defending from Cathal Barrett. And the 29-year-old former All-Star, on more than one occasion he's left the year with an All-Star, does very well. Michael Breen in the other corner. His tip goal long. 2-on-2 inside. No sweeper here. Picked well. And turning on it is Jake Morris, who has been razor sharp today. That's 2-3 for him.
Yeah, you're going to see Tipperary trying to isolate Ford and Morris inside, leave them inside and those hanging balls are going, like the Clare had in the first half, try and benefit from those in the second.
The lead is back out to 5. Eyeing up the post was Mark Rogers, but didn't get enough on it. And that will be a Clare 65. And how important those 2 goals were in the first half. Kept Clare within touching distance of Tipperary.
With the breeze now, you can see with Ryan Taylor's first shot, the temptation is going to be have snaps from out far. Clare's wide tally in the first half, they won't be happy with it, so for the second half, resist that temptation for snapshots from out the field using that breeze. Let the likes of Aidan McCarthy, Shane O'Donnell, Tony Kelly feed them that ball.
We remember an almost record-breaking number of wides they shot against Kilkenny in last year's All-Ireland semi-final. It was an extraordinary level of inaccuracy. They've already shot 10 here today. Aidan McCarthy looking for his 9th point. Won't lack for distance and doesn't lack in accuracy either. Important score from him. I think we've got a glimpse of Brian Lohan just heading down the tunnel there. We'll keep half an eye on that as well as play continues. What a fetch that is in the air. Taken by Garrod O'Connor, who scored 2 wonderful first half points. But that's a 6 wide of the game for the Premier County. Yeah,
you can see his size is a problem. It's a challenge. Dave McInerney is picking him up. He has that height difference over him, and it's going to be tricky for McInerney.
Kenny couldn't gather it. Their followers on the far side of the field felt that was a foul. Coming away with it for Tipperary is Brian O'Mara. O'Mara lifts one in at top of Ford. And Ford gets something on it, and it's almost over the goal line. It was missed by Eamon Foodie. Jason Ford close to yet another score.
Jason Ford nearly did a Conor McDonald from Wexford yesterday. When that ball is hanging up, it's desperately tricky.
Well, that's running away from Ryan Taylor. That'll be a tip line ball. Here's that goal opportunity for Jason Ford. He just stayed patient as that ball dropped.
Yeah, and the decision then for the goalie, do you come, do you stay? And if the defender isn't between the forward and the goalie, it's a dangerous, dangerous play. You need to be goal side of your men.
Well, something going right for Eamon Foodie, who was due a little turn in his fortunes. So a line ball all the way deep inside tip territory to be taken by Brian McGrath. Former Tipperary All-Ireland minor winning captain, 7 years ago now. Not the best of strikes, however, dropped by Duggan. And that's kicked away, and it should be a Clare line ball. You can see Brian Lohan very much back in the thick of it on that touchline. 4th season in charge, and he's led Clare all the way to the semi-final on a couple of occasions. Hoping to go one better this year.
The last Munster Championship win for Clare, and that man was full back, so they really, really will want to change that this year.
Yeah, Clare's wait for a provincial championship now into its 25th year. Tony Kelly winning that free, and a chance to leave just a goal between them. On either side of half-time, Seamus, Tony Kelly's just getting his mitts on the ball with a bit more frequency, and that always spells good news from a Clare point of view.
Yeah, the ball through to Mark Rogers for a second goal was an absolute touch of class as well. When he's on the ball, he makes things happen. Clare would want him on the ball a bit more in the second half.
McCarthy looking to bring his own tally into double figures. He's done exactly that. That's a lovely crisp strike from him. Sent out by Michael Breen. Lovely bit of stick work on that far side. Tipperary now with an opportunity to head towards goal through Brian McGrath. Sends one inside. And quickly onto it again is Jake Morris. What a game he's having. Pursued by 3 Clare defenders. Brought down. Tipperary will feel that could well have been a penalty, but perhaps the foul started outside the large rectangle. And really, Jake Morris is causing untold problems for that Clare full back line.
It looked like it was inside, yeah.
Yeah, he has given the penalty in the end. Started outside the area, continued inside. And
yeah, he was pulled down inside. Yeah, Dave McInerney felt like he had no choice.
And it's a black card as well. So off goes David McInerney.
And in fairness, if you're talking about the application of the rule as it's intended, that's it. Goal scoring opportunity, defender brings the forward down. Last man, the debate there was whether there was actually a clear man between Jake Morris and the goal. Probably was, but that's what the rule is written for.
Yeah, there have been a couple of incidents over the last couple of years where maybe it was felt the rule wasn't being applied as it had originally been intended, but I think that's really what people had in mind, that sort of incident. So Jason Ford drives it into the bottom corner, his second goal of the game.
A huge loss for Clare with David McInerney going off now and after conceding a goal, so this is a double whammy for Clare.
2-3 open place balls from Jason Ford. That's his 10th championship goal. 4 goals conceded by Clare already, and yet they're still a factor in this game. Off they go again through Ryan Taylor. Defenders converging upon him. Taylor knew he had to pull the trigger quickly. He gets his second of the game.
Yeah, I feel like Tipperary's defensive shape is better than Clare's at this stage of the game. They had bodies between Ryan Taylor and the goals there. You Seamus Kennedy coming back. Alan Tynan was in the area. Clare are 2-on-2 at the far end, and it's very uncomfortable for Conor Cleary.
Lovely first touch stuff from John McGrath. We haven't seen much of him today, but that's a pinpoint accurate ball inside to Morris. And this time Morris puts it over the bar. Well, they need to find a solution to the Jake Morris riddle, the Clare coaching team.
Well, it is intentional from Liam Cahill. Clare do need to have Diarmuid Ryan or Cathal Malone, someone back there closer to the full back line for that to cut out that space.
Duggan. How Clare could do it. Peter Duggan joining the party. He's been very quiet. Picked up by Galvin. Galvin off his left side. And Galvin has found the target. His second point. So Clare at a numerical disadvantage and very much at a disadvantage on the scoreboard as well. Here is Taylor. Now Diarmuid Ryan. Back to Taylor, who's running through the middle. He's took it on early and maybe had a little more time than he realised.
His running is causing problems though, Ryan Taylor's pace.
Rory Hayes has overcome a broken toe to be able to take his place in today's matchday squad. He comes in for Adam Hogan. He's had a difficult championship day, but you would have to believe there are greater days ahead for the young man from Feakle.
You have to think the yellow card is a factor in that, as we see Jake Morris. Rory Hayes announced his intentions fairly quickly as he got onto the field there. That's cornerback playbook 101 right there. Yeah, as he goes in there, you can see him. He just tries to Jake Morris stands his ground. Yeah, Jake Morris did the right thing. Don't be intimidated.
This is proper championship fare. So much wrestling on it. Now the referee, who needs eyes in the back of his head at the moment, has to come and deal with another breakout of physicality and tempers flaring.
Yeah, Thomas Walsh now blow your whistle, get the puck out going. Oh, the sub.
Well, Brian Lohan might be about to see a receive a card here. He was on the field there. They had a chat, as we said, at half-time as well. So Lohan now into the book. Tipperary making a change of their own. Conor Stateland coming in for his 5th championship appearance. And it's Alan Tynan being withdrawn. Had a hamstring problem early in the league, Conor Stateland, but fully fit now. And man who won minor and under 21 medals under Liam Cahill in 16 and 18. 2 Clare men going for the same ball. Here's Flanagan. Ran out of space on that near side. And it will be a Tipperary line ball.
Tip have brought Conor Stakeley in half forward. They have him on Dermot Ryan. They're looking for his pace and his legs to kind of to stretch that Clare half back line, and I think to keep that Clare half back line from the full back line, giving that protection.
Well, you wonder what Jason Ford will produce next from these sorts of situations. And that's the result you might normally expect. Ball goes in on top of Conlon. What a scrap for possession it is. Flanagan emerges with it, finds Taylor. Taylor brings that real running game to Clare, and he's fouled as well. All happening under the nose of Liam Cahill. Brian Lohan went out for more, and Brian Lohan was close to, you would imagine, having to leave that touchline.
Yeah, the temperature is rising, isn't it, on the sideline for both managers. Liam Cahill is right there beside that incident. Really, really smart by Ryan Taylor. You can see him. There's nobody else. There's no other Clare player there. He knows the only play he has there is to throw it over the head and to try and win a free. It's actually very, very smart. But the collision there between Seamus Kennedy was chasing back there. He unfortunately came out the worst of it.
And he's back on his feet, and he's going to be shown a yellow card, Seamus Kennedy. Well, they still lead by 5, Liam Cahill's men. There's a long way to go here. Driven along by Aidan McCarthy. He actually had a score on his mind there that was rather audacious, but instead it's the 12th point of the game for Clare.
I always feel those ones, especially by the line, are a bit wasteful. Talking about decision making, you'd be hoping that they'd be putting the ball in for the forwards.
Long ball from Tipperary, straight into the hands of John McGrath. McGrath doesn't need to be asked twice. It's a really simplistic score from Tipperary, for back to front in the blink of an eye, and John McGrath fires over his first score.
Yeah, John McGrath perfectly plucked that out of the air there. Great delivery up the field. So it's great to see him on the score sheet again.
McGrath scored 15 points in play in his first 3 championship appearances against Clare, but failed to score in his last 2. He's on the scoreboard now. Shane O'Donnell looking to do something likewise. Breaks out to Galvin, however, from a very acute angle. A little too acute from Galvin's point of view. Here's Breen. Noel McGrath initially got his hands on it. Clare making life awkward though for the Tipperary forwards. Here's Conlon. So physical. And he puts Dermot Ryan under a little bit of pressure. Here come Tipperary again, waiting for it in a little bit of space was Brian McGrath. McGrath looking to join his 2 brothers on the score sheet. He sends Jake Morris scampering after that one. Up against the new man in that Clare defence and Rory Hayes, and now Tony Kelly has the ball in his own full back line. Looking for McCarthy. And that's a tip ball on the far side.
Incredible work rate from the tip forwards all across the line there. Tip backs trying to hang John Conlon and Dermot Ryan trying to hand pass out of defence, just not been allowed. Incredible work. Johnny Ryan there was doing superb all the way up from cornerback. Really, really impressive work rate from Tipperary, and that's what the Liam Cahill standard is, whether it's Waterford in the last number of years or this Tip team.
Not the best of strikes from Noel McGrath from that line ball. They get another opportunity here though. Did it all so quickly, and you would expect him to put that one over the bar. It's a 7th wide of the game for Tip. So the puck out from Eamon Foodie. Clare really could do with a score. Lost by Galvin. Over 7 minutes now since Clare last raised a flag of any description. Here's McCarthy. Aidan McCarthy taking responsibility on himself. That is an absolutely raking effort from Aidan McCarthy, who really is leading by example. his 11th score of the day.
Yeah, such an incredible effort. Off his other side, we'll say, off his right, from the sideline, on the run. He's doing everything he possibly can for this Clare team to keep them in this game.
Well, on the day we marked the passing of the former GA president of Mick Loftus, we got a glimpse there of another ex-Luke Droncombe and Luke Lascale and Sean Kelly in the stands today. Into the final 20 minutes, and this game's still on a knife edge. 5 between them. Here's Kelly. Ian Galvin has been withdrawn by Clare. Kelly making his way down that left-hand side, looking for another inspirational score. The crowd over his shoulder will tell you that was on target long before it reached the posts. Tony Kelly finally gets himself in the score sheet. 2 in a row for Clare.
That was a great introduction for Gearóid O'Connor as Tony Kelly just breezed past him. What an incredible effort from Tony Kelly, a man who's been quiet all day. Big for Clare.
Maybe he really will produce when it really matters, as he has so often in the past. Paul Flanagan now looks back to his goalkeeper for support. And that's not the best of passes from the keeper, and he really put Flanagan in an awkward spot.
Yeah, but you should know, a bit of rain at half-time. If the ground is greasy, you don't do that for put your cornerback in that kind of predicament.
Tipperary will be bringing Mark Keogh in shortly. Noel McGrath looks to go short with it. Not much of a contact on it. Conlon is blocked down. McGrath looked like he was tripped. Referee says play away. Sent in by Ryan. Excellent defending for that tip full back line. The referee doesn't spot a foul though. Duggan goes after it. And now they're looking to dig their way out of this defensive hole, Tipperary. It's good work from Marr. And Marr sends it in. Racing out from his marker is Morris. Referee tells him to get back to his feet. A little bit of space here for Malone. Great work from Conor Staken just to hold his progress. And under real pressure, the ball was rather aimless in the end. It was taken by Brian O'Mara. O'Mara inside to Michael Breen. Breen just about judged that one to perfection. Kennedy. Back it goes to Johnny Ryan on his debut. Inside to McGrath. Brian McGrath looks to the posts. The referee, though, had given an advantage, which Tipperary will now hope to utilise.
Clare without an option up the field for that long delivery. Brian O'Mara did very, very well to work the ball across. Very, very lucky. Ryan Taylor didn't intercept it and run the other way with it.
And that is Brian McGrath getting some running repairs. And Cahill considering his next move. This really would set up Tipperary's season if they could emerge from Cusack Park with a victory. 6 championship defeats in a row for Tipperary. Two, 3 already for Jason Ford. He can tack another one on there.
Jason Ford been uber reliable from place balls. He's like a metronome.
It's a lovely first touch from Duggan. A little over elaborate on what he attempted initially. That's a brilliant block from McGrath. His two brothers have achieved so much with the Tipperary seniors. He's looking to join them.
Super defender from Brian McGrath. First with the block with the legs, second with the hurley. Like, the McGrath family have produced some hurlers, but for a defender of his quality, it really is something to see.
Duggan got that one to move from left to right, but not struck firmly enough. Here's Noel McGrath now. Oh, he's roving left and right, off to go long, looking for his brother John. John was being held, and it's a free in for Tipperary, and they will be able to re-establish a 6-point lead as we're into the final quarter of an hour. Fell by Paul Flanagan in the end.
Probably a critical point of the second half as well, but Clare, the big scores they had from Aidan McCarthy and Tony Kelly, they want to make those pay. But Jason Ford has just been tipping over down the second free.
And over it goes.
And the lead is 6 again.
Clare have already scored 2 goals, but you sense they'll need at least 1 or 2 more before the end of this game. Tipperary just keeping it ticking over at the moment. Foodie's long ball. Duggan. Shane O'Donnell is in there as well, burrowing for that ball. Eventually it squirts out into the hands of Johnny Ryan, and Tipperary swing one down the field. Well taken by Dermot Ryan. Now Conlon. Conlon finds McInerney. Oh, they look to return the ball to Conlon. That wasn't a pass that was really on. And they'll be thankful that they weren't made pay for it by Jake Morris. Shafudi again. Down towards Peter Duggan. And goes O'Donnell looking for it. It's picked well by Brian O'Mara. He's been impressive in this second half. Back he goes to Hogan in goal. Sense Tipperary just managing their way through this spell of the game. Underneath the dropping ball is Garrod O'Connor. Breaks off Conlon. And it's picked up by McInerney. Malone. Very little backlift on that one. Needed a little more space. It's yet another wide. They're 14th now. Tipperary bringing Mark Keogh in. His 15th championship appearance. And it's John McGrath who's being withdrawn. Tipperary supporters will have been absolutely delighted to see him back on the field today after that awful injury.
It's a great 40 minutes or 50 minutes he's after giving. Jason Ford was looking for attention for his contact lens or his eye. I think Thomas Walsh isn't inclined to give it to him.
Tucked out by Hogan. Conlon somehow it squirted up into his hand. Again, it's a rash pass from him. McGrath felt he was pushed in the back. Duggan trying to come away with it, and he's given it away. Really cheap turnovers from Clare in these last few minutes. Must be so frustrating for Brian Lohan. Mark Keogh, his first touch since coming in, just laid it off to Dan McCormick, who's looking for Morris in the corner. It was Rory Hayes who lost his Hurling, and he's still running around without it. Here is Morris. The angle was acute, and Morris puts it wide. And Tipperary, to some extent, Seamus, letting Clare off the hook here.
Yeah, but Clare's decision-making isn't helping with the far end. Their wides are really hurting Clare now at the moment as well.
There's a really good puck out from Foodie to find Shane O'Donnell, who was fouled.
I think Shane was upset there. I think the case for advantage was on there. He had 30 yards of space in front of him. Just, he's got this knack of ducking in under the player, and Mona Maher aren't too high, can't do that.
Clare have managed just 2 points in the last 16 and a half minutes. So McCarthy looking for his 11th. Well, that is Ford getting those contact lenses sorted. In the meantime, McCarthy standing over this free. Clare are shortly going to be bringing in Aaron Shanahan, another player with considerable experience in their ranks.
Short.
Well short from McCarthy. It was very much on target, but an easy take in the end for Hogan. Breaking clearance on the keeper. No one quite knew where the ball was for a moment. It's the quietest spell we've had in the game so far, a game that burst into life right from the throw-in. Really good work from McCarthy, great skills from him. Sent long by McInerney. It was a clever ball into the space occupied by Ryan Taylor. Taylor jumped beyond the tackle of Brian O'Mara. Referee saw that as a foul, and another chance for Aidan McCarthy with the free. The arm was left out by Brian O'Mara. Well, that's Mark Rogers, who got the 2 goals in the first half, being replaced by Aaron Shanahan. The man who scored 7 goals in his championship career. Clare could do with him chipping in with 1 or 2 more here today. 8 minutes left. 6 points the difference between the teams. Well, that's better for McCarthy. That is 12 for him. Is this the beginning of a similar finish to the first half in this second period that Clare enjoyed? When they got their goals and they drove right back into this game. Sean Ryan is in for his championship debut. Man from Temple-Derry Kenyans, who made his league debut against Laois earlier in the year. He's come in for Gerard O'Connor, who chipped in a couple of wonderful scores in that first half. Low ball sent in towards Ford. Might break towards Morris. He leaves it. And there's a little ball through for the run of Mark Keogh. And Keogh to his left has an option. And it's into the back of the net from Sean Ryan. What a first touch. And your first appearance in the championship for Tipperary.
Great ball through to Mark Keogh. Caught the Clare defence in absolute half. Conor Cleary had pulled out. Look, beautiful flick from Keogh. Great finish low by Ryan. Really, really good use of the stick pass. Great finish.
Well, that is fairy tale stuff. You dream about making your debut for your county. You don't maybe dream of scoring a goal with your very first touch. Clare are going to need goals here. Going back for this one is Johnny Ryan. Tipperary do clear their lines. And that will be a Clare line ball. An 8-point lead. Clare with a bit of an issue for Ryan Taylor out of picture. He's just getting some work done on his right ankle. Well, next week, that's our offering for you. It's a tasty one as well. Join us from 6:15 as the All-Ireland champions take on Clare. And at this juncture, it appears Clare will be going into that game on the back of an opening weekend defeat. Still time for them to turn it around, but it will need to be for something pretty special from here. Across the field they go to Diarmuid Ryan. Ryan looking for that ball inside, asking an awful lot of Aaron Shanahan, who initially came up with the answer. But again, has been the case for much of this afternoon, the tip full back line doing what's required. Ford just keeps that ball in. Clare can bring it away though. Hayes. Now McCarthy. Conlon just steadies himself, sends one in long. Sun in the eyes of Barry Hogan in the tip goal. John Conlon gets his first score.
Yeah, reduces the gap to 7. Clare are going to need something big in the last 5 minutes to really to disrupt this tip flow, because Tip are cruising.
They lead still by 7. Here's Conlon again. Just turned and sent it along, hoping for the best. 2-on-2 inside, but it's the tip two that bring the ball away. Really good work from Brian O'Mara. What a debut he's having. Sent long now by Barrett. Trying to make something of it is Sean Ryan. just prevents that ball from going out over that end line. It was a clever run made inside by Morris, but he wasn't picked up. Lost by O'Donnell, gathered by Johnny Ryan. And he's hooked. Looked like a foul on Cathal Barrett. He throws the ball into a space, and he's fortunate it was gathered by Seamus Kennedy. Kennedy has that run from Mark Kehoe, and Kehoe's ball goes in and over the bar. And Tipperary maybe now striking for home.
Yeah, great play around the middle. Mark Kehoe, that ball looked dangerously close to the top corner of Eamon Foodie's goal, but they're just owning the middle of the field at the moment. Cathal Barrett, great work around the middle. Tip just in the ascendancy.
Brian Lowe has brought in Robin Mounsey. His 6th championship appearance, made his debut in this fixture last year. And a poor puck out from Clare, and it has been punished again by Tipperary. Another mistake at the back between goalkeeper and full back line. Sean Ryan with 1-1 already. He's only just on the field.
He's given Liam Cahill something to think about, isn't he, Sean Ryan? First couple of touches.
And a chance here for Mounsey with his first touch, and he's popped it over the bar. Still 8 between the teams. Clare running out of time. Tipperary looking for their first Munster Championship victory since they beat Clare in 2021. Lost by Kelly, who really hasn't been in the game enough for Clare. There's Noel McGrath, 3 fine points from him already. Won't be adding a 4th just yet. 10th wide of the game for Tip.
These wides are as good as scores for Tipperary now. They're just winding down the clock, wasting the time for Clare to come and make a comeback.
Quickly onto that for Clare was Shane Meehan, who's just been introduced. And Meehan has put one over the bar.
But did he have Mounsey running inside him on a beeline for the goal? I wonder was that the pass? Good impact though.
And it's goals they need. 90 seconds of the regulation time remaining. Here's Malone under all sorts of pressure. Back towards Kelly. And now it's with McCarthy, whose tally of 12 points may not be enough to get Clare an opening weekend victory, and it's another poor wide. That's 15 in total.
And to have no Clare forward inside the D, inside the 25 yards, when they know they need goals, you know, they just don't seem to have got the grips with what this game needs in the second half.
Just looking for that insurance point, but they won't get it in this attack. Here's Duggan. It's looked a little off the pace at times, Peter Duggan. Sent in by Ford, and now they bring it away through Paul Flanagan. Shane O'Donnell, a long way from goal, just for Tipperary would like to keep him. Long ball inside, and it's a great take, really well fetched by Aaron Shanahan, who was being fouled. And Clare may need to go for goal off this one.
Aaron Shanahan swings back here, yeah. The referee saw it too. He's talking to
maybe a throw ball as well. Well, Seamus, there's been some really good performance, particularly from Liam Callow's Tipperary, but he stood out for you today.
Yeah, and so to me, it was Jake Morris for his goals in the first half, and just the difficulty he caused Conor Cleary and the space that he had in front of him. Super sharp today, a guy who has performed well in the league, a goal threat every time he goes out. For me, he's the man of the match.
2-4 for Jake Morris, and it certainly looks like he's going to end up on the winning side. Just to confirm that Michael Breen was shown a yellow card for that tackle. And McCarthy surely goes for goal from here. Clare trailing by 7. Jack Kerwin will be brought in for his championship debut for Clare in a moment. Tipperary also introducing Conor Bowe, who's formerly part of the Tipperary senior football panel.
Yeah, as the changes have been made here, it's this performance, Liam Cahill is going to have to be ecstatic. He really does. He's introducing Conor Bowe here. He's giving a lot of guys time throughout the league. He's giving them championship experience here now. This really has ticked all the boxes for Liam Cahill for first round of the championship.
Well, what is on the mind of Aidan McCarthy here? Well, he wasn't thinking goal, so it does bring the arrears down to a slightly more manageable 6 points, but they certainly need goals now. 5 additional minutes. We've seen stranger things in this great game of ours than a side turning over a 6-point deficit in injury time. Clare will have to believe. Here's Brian O'Mara. Down into space, Conor Cleary coming out to meet it. They got 2 goals in the blink of an eye from Rodgers in the first half. They'll have to do something similar here. Conlon, a little bit of space inside for Jack Kerwin. He's only just on the field. Well, they're looking to work a chore, Clare, and it's put over the bar by Shane Meehan. His 2nd point since being introduced.
Wouldn't mind only, I think Aidan McCarthy had slipped inside there just before Meehan got on the ball there, so Clare still knocking at the door.
Michael Bray, the lead is down to 5. Only 3 minutes remaining. Calling for it here with Seamus Kennedy. Plenty of time to look at the target and put it over the bar. Just the 7th point he scored in Championship Hurling on his 24th appearance. Tipperary bring Enda Heffernan in for his Championship debut. Brian McGrath withdrawn. All 3 of the McGrath brothers now taken off, and they've made big contributions today. McGrath, his first Championship start, has done really well. Shane O'Donnell. O'Donnell with a goal chance. Brilliant piece of defending for Brian O'Mara. Such skill from him. And the ball has ended up over the bar, but for a moment there was a chance for O'Donnell to make it a 1-score game.
Oh, you were almost entirely certain that O'Donnell was going to stitch this. What an intervention by O'Mara. What timing. Perfect defending. And then Aidan McCarthy tidied us up. Yeah, that was superb defending by O'Mara. What a debut.
Well, Barry Hogan's insisting that that ball was wide from Aidan McCarthy. The referee going in for some further discussion. And it has been chalked off.
Not too often your protests are actually proved true from Barry Hogan.
So 6, the gap remains. Just over a minute remaining. Trying to make some inroads here is Enda Heffernan. Tipperary just looking for that insurance score. They've got it from Conor Bowe. His first Championship point. And Tipperary can rest assured now they are going to start this campaign with a victory. Well, this was the one that we thought had initially gone over the bar for McCarthy. And you can see that's a very good decision in the end. The right decision reached. At the other end of the field, though, Clare have got their 3rd goal of the game. So maybe all isn't quite done yet.
That's a really tidy finish by Aidan McCarthy here. Look at the fetch by Aaron Shanahan. Beautiful running off the shoulder. That is textbook. The bat inside, no hook if possible. Just throws it up, bats it in. Really, really great. Aidan McCarthy has been tremendous today. Really, really excellent.
I'll tell you, 113 I make it. 4 points between them. And that is a flaker in the knees there of Dan McCormick. Tip now just waiting for the full-time whistle. Brian Lone perhaps still believes a miracle is possible, but their season has got an awful lot more difficult now over the last couple of hours, Clare. They have to go to the home of the reigning All-Ireland champions Limerick next week, knowing a defeat would leave them 0 for 2 and really up against it in this Munster Championship group stage.
Yeah, it's not a place you want to go with 0 points on the board, but Limerick looked fallible today against Waterford, so Clare, that 3 points that Aidan McCarthy's after getting from might make a huge difference with scoring difference and progression at the end of this round robin.
Jason Ford now has a tally of 2-6. And that may well be that. Well, there is the full-time whistle. Tipperary on the back of a really positive lead came in here with a real measure of intent. They wanted to show Clare they mean business again under Liam Cahill. Disappointment for Brian Lowen, but ultimately Tipperary throughout the game, Seamus, just had that little bit too much.
Yeah, there was control throughout the game. Their use of the ball never wavered. I felt that they always chose the man in the best position. Clare's wides will show again. Their decision making in the second half, some of their shots they took. But man, did they put up a fight. It was a really quality game of hurling and real championship fare.
Well, Tipperary will be absolutely shocked with what they've managed to produce this afternoon. They leave Ennis with a victory. A full-time score in Cusack Park of Clare 323, Tipperary 522. We'll have a lot of analysis and reaction next.